back to Team Talk, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we have got Henry Hill. We've got Zachary Jalab.
Boo.
Oh, no need for that.
Whoa!
Into him
Hang
early.
on a minute.
Just going for my Chelsea target.
Here we go.
Into them early. And Mikey
Hate some.
McCabbin, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Good. Once again, I'm going to declare my love for Chelsea at the start of this episode. I love that club.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. All right, how you doing, Deeks?
Yeah, fine, mate.
How are you, Joe?
Yeah, I'm good, man. As you can tell, we're shooting this on a slightly different camera, but fingers crossed you're still enjoying it. We've had a few technical issues.
My phone.
That's all we're going to say. A few technical issues that hopefully are going to be resolved fairly soon. Anyway,
In a
you know
court
how
of law.
Yeah. Potentially. Anyway, you guys know how this format works by now. We're going to chuck out some different topics to our guests. They're going to have to either rank them or come up with an answer to them and then debate them. I will be awarding points off the back of that. Okay, We're going straight in. Rank the top 6 managers in order of quality right now.
What is the top
In
6?
Premier League?
What is the
The
top
big
6?
six.
The big six, okay.
The big 6 managers in
terms of
order of
Well,
quality.
the big 6 clubs, yeah? The big 6
Yeah,
In
clubs.
terms
okay.
of
Alright,
quality
alright.
right now. Oh, I've missed this.
No. Number 3 is not in the top 6, in the big 6.
Traditional top 6.
Oh,
He's put Aston Villa
He's
in
got
it.
Unai Emery in there.
Jesus Christ.
You love Unai
Emery,
Emery.
Unai
And
any
also-
opportunity
and
to
also,
say how much
he's
you
got
love Unai Emery.
over Arteta.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Leave that on there if you want. You can argue it. Leave it on there.
I
Bonkers.
There's different.
You'll get a point for that. You'll
No,
get a
because
point
one
for
of the
that.
so I
managers-
can put Ange in here.
If you want, but then
And
one of
just
the
the
one
top
of the top
six.
one of the big 6 managers has to miss out.
Take it out.
Emery's gone.
That's boring.
Well, no, it's not boring. It's the question.
I didn't understand. I thought you said top 6.
Oh, you got to listen,
Rattled
man.
already. He's
But
gone.
Villa
now.
aren't in the top 6 or the big 6.
You can
You can
just
put
move
Moyes in
Arteta
there
up
if you
one.
want.
Yeah, West Ham are in the Champions League.
Make
matches.
a decision.
I found this really easy, actually.
Okay.
Oh,
He
okay.
claims he's just done it for a laugh. Let's see what he's done. Reveal.
Butter.
Ten
Bing, bong,
Hag,
bing.
bottom for 3 of us, but not bottom
Poch
for
is
Mikey.
high for you guys, man. Poch is high.
Not for me.
Big Poch.
He's
Poch
low
is
down.
high.
Poch is 4 for me, right?
I think Poch
Yeah.
has to be bottom.
Right,
Why?
Zach, you haven't done this for a while. Well, you go first.
Top 2, don't really speak about. I really actually think we don't even have to speak about Arteta unless we're going to look at Mikey, at Henry's, who's his 4th. He's second for you.
I had him second.
Um,
Above
yeah.
Klopp?
I had him above Klopp.
Is
Yeah,
anyone
I think that's also quite mad to have Arteta.
Arteta above Klopp? But
Yeah,
Right now.
No.
right now,
Yeah.
I'd rather have Klopp. I'd rather have Klopp.
I think
100%.
Arteta has done better in the market than Klopp. I think Klopp's made significant market mistakes for a long time, whether that's partly due to the owners as well.
The recruitment.
But
team,
I
isn't
actually think, I think Klopp's the fading force, and Arteta's the coming man.
Wow. I don't know.
So when you say he's made significant market mistakes,
Yes.
do you not attribute that towards, the passing of, not the passing, but the exiting of Michael Edwards, the exiting of Julian Ward?
I agree. But Klopp has also had a bigger role to say in recruitment because of those departures, and I think he's made significant mistakes.
who
He
are
said
these-
he didn't
who are
need
these
a
mistakes?
said he didn't need a midfielder last summer. 4 weeks into the window, 4 weeks into the season rather. Oh yeah, we should have got a midfielder. Missed out on Tchouaméni, missed out on Bellingham, missed out on midfielders that would have made
But
a
there's a difference between
significant
missing out on
difference.
Tchouaméni or Tchouaméni picking Real Madrid.
True, but I think he oversaw recruitment last summer. They also overspent on Darwin Núñez. I think everyone, even Darwin Núñez's biggest fans, would say that. And I think he's made big mistakes. Arteta's got very little wrong over the last 2 years, and they are a significantly better side than Liverpool, I would argue, right now.
It's definitely the history that's going in Klopp's favour right now. Obviously,
Yeah.
we've seen much more of what's happened for Klopp and the positivity that he's brought to Liverpool over the last, nearly a decade now. Arteta, if we were doing this in maybe 5 years' time, that battle could be a lot closer if he continues on this trajectory that he's got Arsenal on. But it's just too early to call.
We are 3 years into an Arteta project. Klopp had won the Champions
And
League.
the first year he
Yeah, I
was,
agree.
and yeah, exactly. In the first year, he was kind of at times lucky to still be in the job at Arsenal, and then he's managed to make it into this incredible thing, especially what happened last year. I mean, the top 3, I think, is not necessarily worth debating about. I think it's the bottom 3 that really is where things
Can
can
I,
be.
can I
Go on.
just quickly on this one? I would say like Arteta went to Arsenal at a time where they were like desperate for something, desperate for like a spark, and he's had an awful lot of money given to him to build this squad. And we saw that again. There's some of them putting 60 million on Havertz, which hasn't kind of worked out as of yet. Klopp at least has like won won projects in Germany, like built an incredible Mainz side, built an incredible Borussia Dortmund side,
Yeah.
won last team to win the Bundesliga there.
But can you
At
blame?
at Liverpool, he's won the Champions League, he's won the league there, he's reached the Europa League final, he's reached countless other finals there, another Champions League. You can't say that Arteta's anywhere near kind of the success and like stature.
But you can't
of
blame
Klopp as
Arteta for his first
I
job
know,
being Arsenal.
But the question is where I would put the top 6 managers.
But
right
it
now.
wasn't
I still
actually.
think
It was
Klopp.
who would you most like to take over your
Well,
club right
I still
now?
think
Definitely
Jurgen Klopp.
Klopp.
I still think Jurgen
I mean,
Klopp going
I think
into
so.
a new club.
I'm not sure.
Like we saw the change that he
Yeah,
produced at Liverpool.
absolutely.
Every time he's gone to a new club, he's had an unbelievable like impact on that
I mean-
squad. Anyone getting Jurgen Klopp as their manager, I think would see an immediate uplift in form because he is a super coach at a level that Arteta's just not right now.
Yeah, I think it comes down for me. It's like, yeah, okay. I know Joe was saying don't go too historical, but it's like, who is the more accomplished tactician? Like Klopp,
Yeah.
clearly. Like Arteta is closer to
I
these.
don't know, the team's pretty unbalanced.
Sorry,
The team is pretty unbalanced, Klopp's.
it is, and yet he still manages to get a tune out of it. Like Liverpool probably should have finished higher up the table actually last year, given their performances, despite having no midfield and the defence underperforming massively. Like he still manages. Like Liverpool this season, I reckon, probably will score more goals than Arsenal. Like their attack will probably perform better. Like I just think, like yeah, I think if it comes to like accomplishment and tactical know-how, like yeah, I think Klopp and Pep are clearly the top 2 here, and then the other 4, it's really the top 2 and the bottom 4 for me.
Yeah.
Like Arteta is clearly number 1 out of these other 4 in terms of like what he's achieved in the last 2 years.
So you've not got that, Henry, have you?
Sorry,
Henry
You've
hasn't
not
got
that.
who have you got in third?
I just like Maurizio Pochettino.
So you've got Poch in third over Arteta.
Who
I
you
dunno.
got? Who you got?
I
last?
love Poch and I love what he did at Spurs, but like we're just yet to see what he's going to do. He's got like a very difficult job at Chelsea, a job that arguably no manager has ever had at any football club.
Problem is,
So he's almost set
Yeah.
up to fail at Chelsea. So if he can like produce a miracle at Chelsea, then fair enough. But I've just not seen it yet.
but like it's difficult because
Yeah,
you
but it's
got
4
you got
games.
Ange
Yeah.
above Ten
Yeah.
Hag. That's basically based on 4 weeks of football. Like,
he also
because-
did a very good job at Celtic
Yeah,
as
but
well.
then Ten Hag did an amazing job at Ajax and got into the semi-finals of the Champions League.
But that was a while ago now.
He was like a backup.
Also, Ten Hag did pretty
Bayern
decent
Munich.
last year.
He did do decent last year, but we're talking about who would you rather take over your club right now, and I think the start that Ange has had with Spurs, a Spurs side that is in transition and has lost their greatest ever player, I think it is pretty remarkable. Like I think it is pretty
But
remarkable.
let's also I think Spurs have done amazingly.
Like-
We've said this.
Like,
on
if you want
Monday
someone to
Live,
come
but-
in, like Ten Hag came in last year at Man United and took a while. Like he gave him, like Ten Hag likes to give himself like problems and then overcome them. Like Ange has come in at Tottenham and he did do a really good job last year, but he did have to overcome problems that he kind of created
But
himself.
if Manchester
And-
United score one of the goals in the first half against Spurs in that Spurs United game, I
Yeah.
think everybody looks at.
You've got Ange above Ten
different.
Hag too.
Yeah, 100%.
Against your own point.
But I've also like I think Poch's a little bit too low personally for
It's
me.
it's close. It's really close
Where
between
did you have him?
those three.
I had Poch under Arteta and above Ange, mainly due to the
So you're fourth.
historical side. Like I think for half these guys, you can't look at what's happening right now and kind of take it into your stride of thinking. Like Poch has been there for 2 months. Same with Ange, right? And so like it's about trying to look at the kind of history side, and that is essentially what Chelsea did in picking him over.
So historically,
these
what's
other
Poch done that
managers.
Ange hasn't?
Yeah, Ange has won way more.
Managed in the
has
Premier
done
League, to be quite honest. Is managing in the Premier League. Like
He's been
Ange has
tested at a higher level,
and,
yeah.
and managed it for
What Poch-
PSG
what
side
Poch did
and
with
won
that-
the trophies
what-
at Ligue 1.
Getting Spurs into the top 4, getting them to the Champions League
Amazing.
final, that is a great achievement.
Amazing,
Anything
but
that
it
Ange
is
has done in football.
very long ago now. Like it is very long ago. I think he has been stained by that difficult period.
Yeah,
at
he never
PSG.
won a
I love
league, like,
I love
still won
Poch. Like, I
trophies.
love Poch.
Yeah.
I wanted Poch over Ten Hag as United manager, but like
okay.
I think it's like if this is the question, who do you want coming into your club right now?
So
Like,
there's no
I think-
wrong
I think-
answer, really, is there?
like,
So
it-
everyone's a winner.
for me, it's about who. For me, anyway, how I did it is which manager could come into your club and instantly improve players, and I think those top 4, like for me, are quite clear.
And
Like,
Ange
whereas-
is the guy to really like. Ange has come in and
Yeah.
given guys that hadn't had a chance last time a chance and worked.
I
But
don't-
has Ange
I-
really improved anyone else you think that was bad last year?
I think
Well,
the fact that he's
Basuma.
got. I think the fact
but
that he's
Basuma
got.
didn't get given a chance last year. That's my point. It's
Yeah,
because
but
of,
in the
Basuma
minutes
was
he
bad
played,
when he was on the pitch.
yeah,
though.
he
but
didn't
was
great.
that not due to like Conte's like awful of using?
Maybe,
him,
I
right?
wasn't
Whereas,
there,
like,
but-
Ange just used him and let him do what he wants.
I think Ange coming in and instantly setting his midfield as Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison, and them already clicking so well is testament to his judgment as a manager.
But this is what I mean. Like, and they've played games, in my opinion, where, and look, I guess the you can come back and say obviously Chelsea have played Nottingham Forest or whatever it might be. But like Spurs have played who so far? They've played Burnley, who at the moment look not so great. They played Manchester United, which again, if the first half goes differently, I think actually ends up being a completely different game. They've played Brentford and drew 2-2, and defensively actually looked a little bit weak down the flanks. Who's the last game?
Bournemouth,
and also went out to Fulham in the cup because Ange made a stupid decision.
That's a tough game, mate. That's a really tough game. You know, no disrespect.
All right, okay, I think I've had enough on this one. Do you know what? I think I'm gonna award a point to everybody except Henry. I just don't see a world in which you don't have Mikel Arteta in number 3 right now. To have Pochettino.
Have you not listened to anything I've said about Jurgen Klopp at number 2?
I agree with Jurgen Klopp at 2. That's why I wanted points. Everybody had Jurgen Klopp at 2, mate. Other than, I think. So, maybe, yeah. Actually, I'm taking a point off Dukes. I don't think Jurgen Klopp is this.
But did I argue it well?
You did disappoint back on.
Hey!
I argued it well.
Floppinson over here.
While they wipe their boards clean, we go to the next topic, which is one name on your whiteboard, please. The best player outside of the traditional Big Six, plus Newcastle.
Oh. Okay.
So, I don't want to see a Newcastle name on there either. Okay. 3, 2, 1, let's reveal.
Oh,
wow.
It is all Brighton players. It's all Brighton players.
I was extremely close to putting Matoma. I just want to give my Guy Ferguson more prop.
Can we stop with this? I discovered Ferguson.
Yeah, I discovered Ferguson.
Every time Ferguson comes up in conversation, Zach was like, I was first.
Because I was. Sorry, the amount of times everybody else likes to pat themselves on the back for finding a player, I do it, and now it's a big issue.
I think on his first few appearances, I think everyone was like, what a player. And Zach's like, no. I found him.
Not at all.
I was in Ireland. I was at Bohemians.
I actually saw him play when he was 16 against Chelsea. He's
Mic
very
drop.
much an average guy.
Mic drop.
I think Matoma was very, very close for me as well. I think another guy, Elise, was somebody that came into my head as well.
I thought about Eze.
Actually, Eze is who I meant to say, not Elise. Sorry, but Elise is another worthy shout.
So we all think that Matoma is a better player than Moussa Diaby.
Well, I don't know if Dougie necessarily
I was actually tempted to put Moussa Diaby, but then I was like, I've talked about him on so many shows that I'm a bit bored of talking about him. I think Matoma, maybe in terms of natural ability, is probably just he's the most smooth, he's the most fun player to watch. It seems so easy.
But do you feel like we've seen the peak of him already? Like, not the peak. Do you not think we're getting? He's close to his peak than
27?
say a Diaby is, or say a Ferguson is.
I think Diaby's exceptional.
Diaby and Ferguson, these are guys
who
could become best players in the world in their position. And I think Matoma is like very, very, very good.
Ferguson is still in and out of the side, whereas Matoma plays every game since the De Zerbi's come in.
And Matoma, I think the thing is about Matoma, okay, first of all, his age is like belies his experience. Like he should have more legs in him in 5 years' time than most players his age, because he didn't play much top level football when he was younger. And like I very rarely see, I don't know, I can't remember the last player who I saw who entered the Premier League, made their first start, and instantly was like the key player in like one of the league's best teams. Like Matoma, like last November, it was just striking how he's just involved in everything, and somehow a year later he's like taken his game to an even higher level than it was initially. And for a player, I don't know, for a player who had not played in the top 5 league, had what, like 1 year in Belgium after being in the J League, like to come to the Premier League and achieve what he's achieved, and kind of entertain as well in the way that he's entertained with his style of play, like I think it's just
it's incredible. But I just
unique.
feel like your point, especially about how things, like I feel like when Ferguson plays, everything goes through him. Everything goes through him, whether it's like the link-up play, like I think his passing's underrated the way people talk about it. We saw the game against Newcastle. He's just an absolute elite finisher.
He's brilliant. Ferguson is amazing, but I just think like
I'd probably have a few players above Ferguson.
Echoing what Doogie says, like I think it's just like I think you have to be starting every single week.
Yeah.
But do you not think that's just like?
be
I
considered?
think he's 18. Like he's going to be like. I think within the next couple of weeks, we'll then be saying, "Okay, started playing every game now for Brighton." I think that's the course we're on.
Respect Danny Welbeck.
He's had some amazing games before, and then has been taken out of the team as well. Like he's being managed in a really intelligent way by De Zerbi, and yeah, no doubt, like 2-3 years, maybe he's the second best striker in the league, or maybe even in a year's time we'll be talking about him as the second best striker in the league after Haaland. But yeah, he's just not starting enough.
I was tempted to put Lucas Paquetá as well.
Yeah,
I actually think in terms of natural
even
ability,
even Jared Bowen's in with a shout.
Bowen,
Jared
I
Bowen's
think.
yeah,
sensational.
Jared Bowen was quite poor for
No,
much
Joao
last year.
Palhinha shout
Yeah.
from you.
No, Joao Palhinha.
Still
I
Burned.
I still think that it's really boring, but I think when it comes to like best player, I think you
Can't
do
be
have
a
to
DM.
it has to be like an attacking option, which is why Matoma gets in. Like I do think
Not
that
necessarily, I don't think. If you're
Well-
like an orchestra, I think that's the thing with Palhinha. He's like a
We would've
destroyer.
had
He's
Rice,
not. He's
wouldn't
not.
we?
no, I can't.
You
I
have
can't
like
he's
an
not-
extra
he's-
thing to your
Rice
game.
would have
He's
been
not
the
like
answer
a
12 months
a
ago.
game
Or
controller, is
even
he?
6 months ago, Rice would have been the answer.
But Rice
Rice
has
is a
the
bit of a
extra
game
level to it,
controller,
right?
though,
Like,
isn't he?
Paulinho's just a tackle monster, right? An absolute incredible
Yeah,
incredible at that. If he then
Right,
can also
I
carry
think
the ball
about
fantastically
Palhinha
well.
is I think he's so busy in that Fulham side, whereas Matoma's part of a very holistic, like great attacking unit and still looks good. So I think Palhinha gets a lot of license to kind of be him, whereas Matoma's like doing that around other guys that are also incredible.
Yeah, okay. I've had enough. That was quite a quick fire one. I believe I'm going to give all the points to the Matoma shouts. Unfortunately, Jalab, you tried your best, but
Just try not to be boring.
just
to be
wasn't
honest.
well said, mate.
If I put
didn't know everyone
Matoma
was
down
gonna
there,
go for it.
there would have been like a 5-second thing, wouldn't
Okay,
it?
me and George both excited by this next one.
Oh, okay.
This is one name on the board, please. Which football club has the most delusional fan base?
Oh man, but you're just asking for us to get abused here. All right, delusional.
This is very simple.
I think there's shouts for every single fan base.
No.
to be honest.
There's one, surely, that stands out amongst the rest.
Yeah, I think Chelsea's definitely up there. I think United and Arsenal are also very
Write
close
your names
as well.
down, bud.
Get
We're
your
not
names
asking
down.
for debate here.
I think, to be honest, the entire Big Six are completely delusional.
I'm gonna just do something different because
I don't know whether Spurs fans are delusional.
Put
To
your
be
mic
honest.
next to your mouth next time you speak.
Yeah,
It's under your
all
arm.
the Big Six fans are delusional.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, reveal.
West Ham, West Ham United.
West Ham. I actually want to start with West
Yeah,
Ham.
I actually quite like that
Why?
shout.
the way they flip flapped in the last 5 years between. I'm gonna get so many pelters for this.
West Ham have a very passionate support
They
base as
have a
well,
seriously passionate
so
fan
you're
base.
going to get. Yeah,
They
you're
are
gonna
a
get it.
great club, and they've got a great. I think they've got a great fan base, but
Stop
like
protecting
the
yourself.
way that they just flip flap on the owners relentlessly. If something's going wrong, they're like riot in the stadiums. The owners have spent so much money. They haven't always got it right. They haven't always employed the right people. The way that they just like pick some part of them was like pick on David Moyes last year when he was in a down period, and just like they bay for blood so quickly, and it just really just winds me up because they've been in Europe 3 years now. They've won a trophy now. And like I don't think they ever quite know what they want. They go from wanting to play like super attractive, having all these international superstars, to just being like a proper club. They like, which is so. I think that I think they're slightly lost sometimes.
I was going to say,
as
do you
an
think they're more
identity.
lost than deluded?
Well,
Do you
I
not
mean,
think they're like?
But being lost is delusion.
they're
I think most of
They're
their
being
fans
lost,
are quite
but they're
realistic,
being
and they're
lost.
like, we are a bit lost.
but then it like plays out in it plays out then in the way that they
I don't know, man.
react in the stadiums and react towards the managers and the players. Like I think it
Just
just
sometimes they spend a lot of money.
well, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I just don't understand what they want. Like sometimes you just have to accept a year being in the Premier League is a success.
I think-
Being in Europe is a success. Like I don't understand what they're expecting the
I
whole
think, I
time.
think, I think
Previous
the thing
summer
is
they
with
spent-
West Ham fans though. I think there's when they moved to the London Stadium, they were told that was going to be a stadium that would stage Champions League football within not a few years.
That is
and
delusional.
they are the second. They do have the second highest attendance in the league. So I feel like that's where it comes from. And I feel like West Ham fans aren't expecting Champions League football now, but there is still that in the back of their minds. I feel like since they left Upton Park, they feel like they've been promised something, and maybe they were at the start, but like
They-
It's been a successful move for them. Like they can't really be. I get Henry's point because they can't really complain too much. I mean, they won a European
But
competition
you
last year.
can complain, I think, when your club spent a crazy amount of money and you're not getting like last season. Okay, the European Cup was amazing. It was brilliant, sure, but they were shit in the league.
But
right, and
but
like,
that's not
you
because
can't
the
spend
club
that
hasn't backed the manager. Like they've spent, as you say, a
But
lot
that's
of
what
money
I
on
think they've
individual
been-
players.
That's what I think they've been annoyed at. Like they feel like they spent a lot of money and they're not seeing the results on the pitch. Right, they went and got Skamaka in, which everyone I think outside of West Ham's owners, whatever, felt was a weird move for them to go and make, considering how he worked in Serie A. And for Moyes to make. So I think like if they're making, I find like if you're making arguments that like seem quite true, I don't find that so delusional.
I don't think they're delusional at all. That's why I thought it was quite a bad shout. No offense, Henry. These guys. Oh, can we talk about these guys? Have you guys met Sam Abasaki? Seriously.
But
I saw a lineup
Abasaki does it for like.
My Twitter is filled with.
He doesn't
probably
really think what he
it
says.
knows the algorithm knows.
You've also
it.
become a little bit of a guy against
Do you
Chelsea
think
as
Doogie
well.
is anti-Chelsea?
Or do you think I'm just realistic?
I think Doogie
Sam
knows.
is convinced he's anti-Chelsea.
I think Doogie knows that if he tweets something about Chelsea, it'll get more of a response.
Is that
I am
true,
not. I
Doogie?
promise
He's
you,
calling
I
you
do
out
not.
there as
I
beta.
honestly just tweet what I think, and I think Chelsea are very easy to question at the moment. I see lineup 11s of Chelsea fans put on Twitter, and they say this team will complete football. I have never seen a worse team for £1 billion spent. It is shockingly bad.
I did
that
see
argument's
money
something
spent,
else, like,
I did
money-
see-
they are totally delusional about the quality of this team.
I did see a little meme that had all the players, and it was like looking at a festival lineup where you know the name of 5 bands.
Let's not even say that they're
which I
bad
didn't quite
individual
like.
players, but for that money spent,
Yeah.
it is embarrassingly bad. And
Yeah,
they,
$1 billion,
You
yeah,
guys
they
defended
spent
team.
half the
Yeah,
amount of
there's
money
no
that
point,
Roman
you're
Abramovich
just-
did in
you're
2
talking
decades,
over
pretty
people,
much. That is crazy, isn't it? Like, it is mad.
For the money spent, I think people keep talking about the billion. I get it; it's a lot of money for sure. But like, we're in a market now where to get one player costs you over 100
Partly created by Todd Bowley, this market, by the way.
Well,
Bowley has
also-
had a huge part to
also
play in
helped by
creating this
Manchester
market.
United have also done this for a long time. Like, there have been many
Not in this period.
Real Madrid have
Not in this
spent lots
period.
of money on players like that. Over the last 5 years, these clubs have all spent hundreds of millions. PSG
not
have
not
done
to the
this.
same extent.
I
Like,
think,
we're
I
gonna
think United
talk
have
about
spent
how-
around $1 billion since Fergie
I
left.
would
We're all going to talk about
About 10 years.
Poch has spent more at Chelsea than he did at Spurs.
I'd
Yeah.
argue it's not the fan
But
base
that's
that is
Spurs,
delusional.
the-
It's the club. The club itself is delusional. Like the ownership doesn't quite know what's going on. The
Fits
players
every
don't-
category, this.
The players, yeah. I would
Your
say.
argument's
I would say
like
the fans are probably the most sane part of Chelsea because they're just like
Match-going fans, yeah.
Because they're just like, oh my god, they're almost just it's like white noise to them, just the amount of nonsense going on around them. I would say like Chelsea is delusional. I don't know if necessarily the fan base as such.
I think any top
plays
six.
a
I think the
part.
second you get a global fan base, you all become delusional. Like you get fan,
We're all delusional.
No, they do. Like the second you get a global fan base where people are just used to seeing your team win, and then they go for a period where they don't win. Suddenly, you see it online all the time of these fan bases that like. This is why for me,
But
United's
you're
probably the
incredibly
biggest one.
reasonable.
Myself, like
you are
no,
compared to the most
Sure.
Chelsea fans. Like they cannot
I
see
see it all
any
the time.
fault in
I
any
see it all the time.
transfer.
I see it all the time. But like, I think this is what I mean. When
I
you
do
get this
agree,
global
to be fair.
fan base of where they are like, I have Chelsea in particular, right? They are given all the time, like for the past 10 years, they've been about buying the best player, about buying this person, and then along with that has come success. And so they're in a period now where they don't quite know what to do because they're still buying the good players but performing shitly. Like I think Chelsea is a fair enough answer. I really
Well, I mean,
do.
we're just right now.
There are players that there are players there are accounts you see out there online. You're like, Jesus Christ, like go to bed, like do something else. How are you just continuously doing this? But that's the same for all of these top six clubs. Like United, for me, I think the delusion for me is I feel there's like an attitude sometimes because of United have been so good for so long. They deserve to be so good. They deserve to keep winning. They deserve to be at the top of the Premier League, and that's just not how it works in my head or in my eyes.
You know, there are ex-United players who expect Man United to be, you know, for what worked at United 20 years ago to work now, which I don't agree with personally.
And a little bit that's
so
the same
so-
with your one as well. But as well, like essentially, it's Barcelona.
Yeah,
Like, we are the best team of all
I
time.
think with Barcelona, and like I know Barcelona fans, and it's the fan base. Like the fan base are mad. Like not you know not I'm not generalising here, but I don't want to generalise here. But since Barcelona's money struggles, like it feels like a kind of. And especially since Laporta came back in, was incredibly, you know, popular president, like, you know, especially compared to like Bartomeu, Barcelona's transfer activity doesn't seem to have like gained that much scrutiny from fans, at least from what I've seen. And
The pulling of levers and
yeah, the
things.
pulling of levers and whatnot, which is, you know, like whatever they found the loopholes and whatnot. But there does not seem to be much panic. Barcelona fans are more panicked by the idea of missing out on Champions League football for a year than the idea of the club spending its way into oblivion. Like I don't quite get it. Like the future of Barcelona Football Club is still kind of hanging in there.
Yeah.
We're still not sure what Barcelona is going to be in 5 years' time. Yes, they're building the new stadium. Yes, they've managed to find loopholes. but like they're having to do that by selling their future away. And
celebrating levers and things.
Yeah,
It's an active celebration.
and the fact, this time, like a year or just over a year ago, I think it was like towards the end of the 21-22 season, there was serious chat about like the ownership of Barcelona having to change fundamentally for the long term. Like the club's very identity of being a fan-run club, being or a fan-owned club, I should say, being lost forever, and yet, like, at least the majority of Barcelona fans that I hear from were more concerned about the club fading into irrelevancy because they would finish like 4th or 5th one year than the actual fundamentals of the club itself. And that's not necessarily, maybe that's not the hardcore fan base within the Camp Nou, but that is a sizable voice of the Barcelona fan base, who are happy with the club's pretty shoddy transfer policy under Laporta as well, in terms of just buying, aging players still on big wages, spending 60 million euros on Rafinha, which has been fine, but fans thinking that that's not even a big expense for a club of Barcelona's size, which it shouldn't be, but it is given their financial situation. I think this was a no-brainer for me, to be honest.
I think with the rises of like troll accounts as well online and stuff like that, like for these, especially these three, make it seem much worse than it is as well online. Like, you go to like a tweet from a footballer or a Sky Sports reply or whatever, you go to the replies, it's just like all these like
ratio.
And it's just embarrassing. Yeah, or it's like some person called like CFC whatever Max or whatever it is, and his whole account is just like an Eden Hazard profile, whatever. But they're just living off of these likes and replies of tweeting just rubbish. Like, I think this side of things too just doesn't help, but then creates this bigger picture of where you look at like football online, just think.
But I think that's the problem as well. Like, there's so many fans just think that football doesn't exist outside like the top 6 clubs in the Premier League or the Champions League. It's just like, mate, if you're an Arsenal fan, if you're a Liverpool fan, and this is at Arsenal fans and Liverpool fans, there is not a referee agenda against you. I'm sorry. Like, say that with a straight face to like a Bournemouth fan or like, I don't know, like a Fulham fan or a Luton fan. Say that with a straight face. Like, the big clubs in England generally do get favoured. They generally do get the favourable decisions because they're the bigger clubs and whatnot. There's more pressure on them. They're in bigger stadiums and whatnot. There is not a referee agenda against either Liverpool or Arsenal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Putting that out there.
Final point was just McCubbs mentioned on his Barcelona spiel, which I thought was very good, finding loopholes and selling your future. Board drop.
Is that not just? Is that
Board
not just the
drop.
Owner? That's the owners.
Board
like,
drop.
Yeah.
That's not. We're not talking about who's got the worst owners or the best owners. We're talking
Board
about
drop,
fans.
and he's still
But I mean, if we're talking about
delusional,
delusional, my argument with Barcelona was, I mean, I guess it works for the ownership as well, and the recruitment team and people who work there, but also the fans. Whereas I feel like, Doogie, you were kind of making the suggestion that it's mainly the ownership of Chelsea that are delusional. But I don't know, what was the question? Was it fans?
It was fans.
It was fans. Okay,
I think everyone.
It was fans.
Yeah.
Lots of passionate points in there. I think Henry got maybe the best points in on fan base. There was a lot of ownership. There was a lot of levers over here. Jalab, I'm not giving you a point just because you put Man United down. I think I'm going to give the point to Henry.
Sorry.
Wow.
To Henry. Wow. Okay.
McCubbin, I thought you spoke beautifully. Then.
And you say that I judge it badly.
Next topic then. I've got 5 teams to rank here.
Wow.
Manchester City's treble winners. Manchester United's treble winners. The Invincibles. Chelsea 0405 Mourinho. And Liverpool 18-19.
Do you mean 1920?
Was it 1920?
1920.
1920. Okay,
I've got
we're
mine.
going to reveal,
I've got
please, gents, in 1, 2, 3 turn.
City at the top for everyone. Chelsea's gone from 2nd to 5th for Mikey.
I already have Chelsea.
The comments.
Okay.
I can feel a lot of 30-year-old plus United fans typing furiously at Henry, having the treble winners bottom.
Just to kick off on that, like, we're talking about my knowledge of all these teams, and my knowledge of the United treble winners is the weakest because that's just not the era of football I grew up in. Like, the moment that stands out for me is obviously that Champions League final, which, don't get me wrong, fantastic. That's like famous for the late turnaround. The Chelsea 0405, I think that was really when we started to see, certainly like foreign ownership coming in, the power of like what money can do to really change a team around. And for them to have gone and got Mourinho, and for them to produce like the defensive display that year, I just think is it will never be really appreciated just how good, because it's not all about scoring goals sometimes. It is about doing the dirty work at the back. And they were just like, it was the most beautiful defensive performance I've ever seen. I love that Carvalho kind of Terry set up there. Liverpool 1920, although it's probably like the least in terms of achievements trophy-wise, because City were so good that year, the fact that they had to like step up and raise their level, I think to maintain with, as we saw last year of Arsenal, to maintain pace with City over the course of that season was just really remarkable football. And I love that side. That front three was, it's obviously broken up now. Incredible. The Invincibles, again, over 38 games.
So you've got the Invincibles in second?
Yes, yeah. I think
Yeah,
over
likewise.
38
Let's
games.
see your board. I've not actually seen your board.
Sorry, City treble winners, Invincibles, Liverpool, Chelsea,
okay.
United.
Oh, so you're going it from. Yeah,
I still think 38 games to not lose. You can't. That's so hard. That's just so
So
hard.
you've got
49.
Liverpool, I've got
49.
Liverpool second, you've got Liverpool third. Jalab, you've got on bottom.
Yes. Yeah, I've done it more like achievements, like for me. I think winning the treble is just so tough. It's so tough. The reason City goes above it for me is I think the football nowadays is tougher to do it in than when United did it in. But still, even when United did it, it's
I don't know.
it's tough as
More
well.
competitive around Europe then, but
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's why it's 1 or 2. But I think City probably just edge it because they probably did it in a.
I think they
better
beat
way.
United on the pitch.
Exactly.
now.
The Premier League was also more competitive in '99 as well.
As
Like,
for
way more competitive.
like third for me is Invincibles. Like to go unbeaten, I know they drew a lot of games or whatever, is still just incredible feat. Like no one's done it since. And so that's got to stick there for me. And then fourth, like Liverpool were amazing. Liverpool were brilliant. They got 99 points, but Chelsea got 95 and and only conceded 5 goals. Like, that's
15.
Sorry, Chelsea got 95 points and only conceded 15 goals. Like, that's a ridiculous record. That who knows? Maybe we'll see it happen this season. You never know.
So you
But
think that
feels
Chelsea
highly
team would have beaten that
unlikely.
Liverpool team?
I think it would have been a great game. And 9 times, and out of 10 matches, one might have won 5 and the other might have won 5, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can make a case for any of them to be second to fifth, I think. I think Man City's treble is quite the obvious top, to be honest. Liverpool 1920, I think we do forget that City had some major injuries that season. I think Laporte was injured. I think Leroy Sané was injured. That's the only reason I wouldn't have them higher.
They're not like, I mean, I think we overrate it a bit on those Man City injuries. Like, that's not that big an injury crisis, really. Like Laporte,
Two huge players.
Laporte was, yeah. Sané wasn't.
Sané the year before in 18-19
as-
was very good as well.
He was very good, but like that City team still had a lot of depth.
Oh, I agree. And they
I
went
don't think
27
you can
games
attribute-
unbeaten.
I
I
don't
put them
think you
above
can-
Chelsea.
Like, I think that City at full strength that season still lose to Liverpool. Like that Liverpool still win the league that season. I think. Like, they
Maybe.
won it so comfortably. Like how many points did City end up missing
I think
out
City
by?
were
Like
on
15
the
or
City
something.
were maybe in the
Dropped
low
off a bit,
80s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it was like City had a very bad.
but it wasn't
season.
Liverpool's best points tally. They got more in 18-19, I'm pretty sure.
Did they? Well, they
Yeah.
got more than 99 points.
I think
can't
they got.
They can't have got
I think-
100 points.
No, exactly. So they got less in 1920
Oh,
than
what
they
did
did
they? So they get 99 in
18-19. I think they got 97 or 98 in 18-19, and I think they dropped off in 19-20.
Maybe they got 97.
1920 when they won the league, 99 points.
They got
99.
98
My bad.
the season
Okay, I got
before.
that wrong.
But like, it's
97
kind of
the season
it's
before.
kind of
Much
kind of
less.
arbitrary. Yeah.
I thought the Invincibles. I don't know. I always preferred watching the Invincibles to Man United's treble winners. I thought the Invincibles were a very, very complete football team and had more firepower maybe than Man United treble winners, at least in wide areas. But then Man United did have an amazing stock of strikers. It was really difficult. Chelsea 2004-05, I could have them higher as well.
Yeah, I think with these, okay, we're looking at singular seasons, but you do have to take some account into other things. Like, yeah, that Man City team, I think maybe there's recency bias there with the Man City treble winners. I think what wins it for me with Man City is just like Haaland. Like I think he's just going to be the best number 9 ever, and for Pep to have, you know, reshaped that team around Haaland was really, really impressive last year. Yeah, I think this era of Man City is just very interesting as a result. Even if, but they're maybe not as entertaining as they were, you know, in the kind of Aguero, Sterling days. I've put Liverpool up second just because I think, again, like that was
From fifth, the big jump
from
you
fifth.
there.
It's so difficult, and I really loved that Mourinho Chelsea team. I loved them, but I couldn't. And in some ways, I prefer that Chelsea team to even the Arsenal Invincibles. kind of because of what Henry was saying, like that. Like I've never seen a team like even this Man City team. I don't know why I'm bigging up Chelsea. I've got them 5th, but even this Man City team are, I think, more beatable than Mourinho's Chelsea team was.
Yes.
I think in some ways that Chelsea team was the most unbeatable, even though Arsenal, did go a season unbeaten. Chelsea only lost one game that season, and I think from watching those 2 seasons, I think Chelsea were less lucky than Arsenal were in that invincible season, in terms of like not dropping points. Mainly because that defensive unit was just so ridiculous. But Arsenal were more entertaining, and it is an amazing achievement. And Thierry Henry was part of that side. Like it was just pretty magical. Liverpool second though, because they were a Champions League winning team. They were probably the best team, like by a distance, in the world at that point. Like the recruitment was so smart. The style of football was just electric, wasn't it? Like Jurgen Klopp is just such an infectious character and tactician. Like I just think, those Man City and Liverpool sides are just so elite. And I've put United third because I think, the achievement of that Ferguson, Ferguson's achievement of getting that United side, which was full of academy players. I think in the Premier League era up to that point, I think United had maybe the 4th highest spend or 5th highest spend of their Premier League rivals. Compared to the likes of Newcastle and perhaps even Blackburn. Not sure about Arsenal, but anyway, the achievement to win the treble, like in a very competitive European Champions League, in a pretty competitive Premier League as well. Like they didn't finish on that many points. Like the Premier League was a much more top to bottom, more equal league back then. I just think was like you can't look past it. I don't think it really is it is quite unique in a way that City's treble, post Barcelona and Bayern Munich and the big money teams who have won it over the last 10 years. Isn't as unique, I don't think.
I mean, we've all got to sit in the same one. I just think you talk about that Liverpool team. That Liverpool team did great over those years, but also won basically the same amount of trophies Chelsea did in those years.
But more deservedly though.
Well, Chelsea didn't win the Champions League in that period, did they?
Chelsea won the Champions League in 2021.
Yeah, but in 2021, we're talking about Chelsea. And
he went on to speak about
sure. I think we're talking about pure
entire
achievement, but it's like that no one's actually going to remember that Chelsea 2021 team, are they? Like they're not. Like
what?
They didn't. They didn't even fit. Did they even fit? They just about scraped the top 4. Like Liverpool pushed City to the edge in 18-19 and won the Champions League.
Yeah, but didn't win the Premier League. So they won the Champions League.
They didn't win the Premier League. Yeah,
but they got
how many points did Chelsea get in 2021? Like, and they weren't even particularly good. They weren't even particularly good to watch. Like, it was so boring.
But
that has to come into.
But they did beat the best team, I guess, in the world.
In the big final.
They did. Yeah, no, it was a great final performance. It was a good.
My point being is you're talking about Liverpool over that exact same period, and everyone talks about them as like this incredible, and they have done brilliant.
They were way better than
They've done
Chelsea
brilliant.
side.
I'm saying yes, but what I'm saying is if you look back on it in 50 years and we go, the trophies won.
Yeah,
but you could say that about the Mourinho Chelsea team as well. Like that Mourinho Chelsea team literally just won 2 Premier League titles, and that was it.
And Liverpool won.
I actually think if you put Man City Centurions in here, that would be interesting as well. I think Man City Centurions were by far the best side to watch out of all of these. And I actually think getting 100 points in the Premier League is an achievement that's almost not going to be ever beaten again.
Yeah,
so I would be tempted to put
achievements
Centurions up there because actually European football at the moment, outside the Premier League, is really not very good. I don't think it's as big an achievement as it was for an English side to win the Premier League, win the Champions League. Sorry, with the amount of spending, it's just not what it once was.
Okay, right. I think, Mikey, for your impassioned speech there at the end, and the fact you riled Jalab up, I'm going to
You've got it in for Jalab today, but I'll take it.
I don't really know what this point scoring is like.
Yeah, it's gone to pot. I'm not going to lie. It's just totally gone to pot. Final one then, bit of a fun one this. We're not sure how this one's going to go down, but it could be good. On the boards, one position in the table. Where would this Brighton side finish in Serie A?
Is this inspired by the viral Twitter clip from Continental Club?
What happened?
Doogie said that. No, Pat said that Brighton would win Serie A.
Lecce are in 4th at the moment. So okay, 3, 2, 1, reveal.
Ooh.
Fourth.
Oh, we've got
First, second, third, fourth. Fourth, Doogie.
Yeah, I don't think, if we're being serious, I don't think they finish above Inter Milan or Napoli, to be honest.
Why
I think they're much better
I think
than
they finish above.
I think
Why
they're
not?
much better than Juve. I think they're better than Atalanta, Roma, Lazio, but I don't think they're as good as the Milan clubs, and Napoli have way more firepower than Brighton.
Yeah, I think Milan and Napoli are ahead of them. I think they give Inter a run for their money. I think they do give Inter a run for their money. I think it's close. I think it's close there. But the problem is that we talk about like where would they finish, but like Serie A's top 7 is incredibly competitive in a way that a way that only the Premier League's top 7 really is as competitive, and actually it's more competitive.
No, it's way more competitive.
It's competitive in terms of like
City,
between 1 and 7. It's the skill level. So like over the course of a season, like this Brighton team, I think maybe something that would perhaps count against Brighton would be their depth. I think Brighton's depth is still not super amazing in the way that I think the top 4 Italian clubs probably have a bit more going on there. So I would put them third. I think in terms of like entertainment value, like I think they, I think only, if they were in Serie A last season, only Napoli could rival them. But in terms of like actually getting points on the board, I think there's still a little way to go with this Brighton side. Otherwise, we would have seen them. I think we probably would have seen them finish 5th last year. Otherwise, in the Premier League.
But let's not forget in the period that De Zerbi was in charge, I think they did take the 4th most points, didn't they, or the 5th most points?
Yeah,
That's why it wasn't an outrageous statement on Continental Club originally, unlike the whole of Serie A, disagreed with. They are a very, very good side.
I don't think it's
You've gone second. You've gone high.
I think second. I think Inter Milan are the only team that would beat them. There's a reason they're top of Serie A right now. There's a reason they got to the Champions League final last year. They only won the league 2 seasons ago, was it? Inter Milan have Lautaro and Marcus Thuram up front, which is just an unbelievable partnership. They've got such a solid base running through that side. I love Inzaghi as a coach, and I think getting Pavard in there alongside Bastoni, they've got a better defence than Brighton. I think that's fair enough to say. Like Brighton's defence has been exposed a little bit this season there too. So I think Inter Milan, and like we're talking about big clubs with like who are used to the big weight of expectation, which Brighton haven't always had, and Inter Milan have that in abundance. AC Milan, I think, have got slightly. We talk about depth. Like at the moment, they've got Giroud, who's leading the line for an entire season with lots of other, like, don't get me wrong, exciting additions.
Would Giroud start for Brighton?
No, not with Ferguson.
I think he would get some game time.
Yeah, he certainly would. He certainly would get
Welbeck-
game time.
Oh, he'd play a
Welbeck
bit, yeah. But he wouldn't start.
But I still think like AC Milan.
Welbeck starts for them.
Sometimes.
They could. It was a great win at the weekend against Napoli, which showed like Rudy Garcia's actual like tactical limitations as a manager taking over from Spalletti. I think we've seen Kavica has had such a bad run of form in the last sort of 8 months or so. I think Napoli, they've definitely peaked as a side. I know they have Osimhen, but I would over the course of a campaign, having seen what Brighton can do when they're playing full flow football, I don't see why Brighton wouldn't be able to keep with Napoli and go ahead of them. Like Napoli's title win is like their first title win in 30 years. It's not like they're a prolific title winning or cup winning team, Napoli all the time. Neither are Brighton, but I still think that they are. Whereas Napoli has sort of like hit the peak, I still think Brighton are going places and they're getting better and better under De Zerbi. And for those reasons, I think they could definitely finish second.
So do you think Brighton, in Europe this season?
Yeah, I
think they could win that competition.
Win the competition. Well, we have to wait and see who drops down.
See Italian teams in it.
I have to wait and see who drops down from the Champions League.
Europa League. I mean,
I think they could certainly go deep.
They're in the strongest group.
They've got a strongest group, but it's still a group that you're expecting them to get out of. Like Ajax are not what they used to be.
This is what like being one of the top clubs is, right? Like I've had them first kind of taking the mick, but like I think second, third, fourth is pretty much a fair enough statement. Like I think the issue they will have is they've never dealt with a title run and a title push. Like that adds extra pressure.
The fact they're having to travel to Italy every weekend.
Yeah,
as well.
the flights are going to be crazy.
They'll relocate.
They'll relocate. But also, like if it was say this season, we've not seen a Brighton side like this, which has to deal with also European football at the same time and how they're going to kind of rest certain players in certain ways. And the thing is, Brighton, we've already seen it. They've
got Milner in there. They've got Welbeck. They've got elder statesman
so
of the elite game.
But we've already seen it happen
Dahoud.
Right now for Brighton. Is they have maybe one too many freak results where suddenly they're meant to be playing a team that you'd expect to play off the park.
They are beating teams above them by playing better football than the teams teams above them, aren't they? Like they're
Yeah,
beating teams like Chelsea, like Manchester United, who
Happens
are
all the
historically
time,
better
though.
sides. I
Like-
think for a concerted period of time now, Brighton have been able to go out there, dominate.
It
the ball
started with
against
Arsenal. I remember
Newcastle,
Brighton
Chelsea,
used
Man United.
to cause Arsenal a lot of trouble very early on, and they've just managed to keep going. And they play exceptional football. They're one of the best teams to watch play football right now. The issue is just dealing with the actual title run. It is a lot harder than first thought.
They've got established group, like we talked about that, Ajax, Marseille, AEK Athens.
These are going to be big tests to see, like where they're playing.
You know, Ajax struggling.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Badly.
haven't been good recently.
Marseille.
New
What is it
management under
like?
Marcelino,
For
yeah.
a lot of
Tough,
these
tough,
players,
away,
for a lot
tough
of these-
away, but tough away nights in
Brighton.
no, tough away nights in,
an absolute
in the Euro-
cauldron at the
in
Amex.
in the Europa League. That's
And it
the
is-
thing. That's the thing. This Brighton side not yet has had to go. Yeah, has had to go away to Marseille and have like fireworks thrown at them.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
Yeah, but they've had to
like
go
say
away
with-
to the
It was
Emirates
funny,
when
though,
Arsenal were in
that
a
the-
title challenge.
But
and
it's
take
a
points with them.
different thing. Like I think
not
the
the
whole,
same-
the
it's
whole
not the
process,
same as a
and also
European night.
mentality
It's
wise,
not
where
the
you're
same.
playing in Europe, like you've had this couple of hours train trip to go. You've had this couple of hours flight over to another country, like you're training in a different country. Like Marseille is, you can say they've gone to the Emirates. Marseille's a different fucking ground. Like
Yeah,
it's
I
Marseille's
completely
crazy.
understand, but let's not pretend that, you know, De Zerbi has not played in front of.
Yeah, no, we're not. We're
Well, it
maybe
deserves
being a
us,
little
but
bit
we're-
patronising as well. It's an international squad. There's some really well experienced players in there. I don't know. Yeah,
It was really funny that it really annoys
Irks
people
them, yeah.
because I think Serie A fans maybe haven't watched enough of Brighton, and yes, it was said pretty tongue-in-cheek. I don't think Brighton would win Serie A,
No.
but I think fourth is quite low. I think
Yeah.
they'd be comfortably in the top four.
That's conservative.
They
Yeah,
are so much
they
better than
definitely-
Juve.
They definitely get top four.
So much better than Juve.
Yeah.
Just into
Okay.
for me.
Just
I
for
was
putting
second,
first
by the-
down
Yeah, okay,
and
yeah.
putting
Yeah.
Satchel up.
Thank you.
Just to wind up the Serie A fans watching, if you are a Serie A fan watching, you don't think Brighton are going to finish first. Unlucky. Okay, I've just been told behind the camera there that everybody's on 2 except for Michael McCubbin, who's on 3 points. Our champion of this week's team talk. Congratulations, Michael McCubbin.
Thank you.
Really good effort. Slight apologies for the quality of this filming, especially on this camera. These two cameras you might not notice quite as much, but if you did enjoy this video, hit the like button, hit subscribe. We'll catch you later.